Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Rhonda, popping in here on a Saturday afternoon. I wanted to share a little takeaway from my quiet time. Well, this afternoon, usually Saturdays, it's the afternoon that I get my quiet time in because we have Kyla till about noon, and then I just have to wind down and just get into the word and just kind of sit there for a moment. So anyway, it actually takes me double time when I do this in the afternoon. Isn't that crazy? It's something that just happens. Like when I wake up first thing in the morning and I'm just so focused because I've been asleep, and then I wake up and it's the first thing that I do. But for whatever reason, when I come to my quiet time in mid-afternoon or even towards, later in the afternoon, it seems like it takes me double time. I don't know if that happens to you. Let me know. So if you are new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Rhonda, and I like to share Christian content, my quiet time takeaways, pretty much anything along my faith journey I'm going to make a video about, especially if I think that it's maybe something that can encourage you or inspire you, because I stumble forward every day. So there's no rhyme or reason. I can't say that I get on here and just do Bible studies or things like that, because it's really random. And if you like that sort of stuff, maybe you'll consider subscribing and catching more of the randoms. For my subscribers, you guys know what you're gonna get, a little bit of everything. But I wanted to share with you just this little, it'll be pretty quick because it just was like such an aha moment, but it has more to do with something that kind of just supports a lot of the things that my husband actually tells me that I kind of don't get until I actually have a visual. So I don't know if this may be a visual something for you, but maybe it'll help you bring to clear thoughts or bring to focus maybe something that you may be looking at as, well, why can't this change? Why can't I do this? So my friend Maria sent me for my birthday, she sent me this Ashley Hetherington. Why do I always stumble over her last name? But anyway, I follow her. I just think she is the cutest thing, and I'm always praying for her, and I can't wait for the Lord to bring her sweet husband, because I know she is in a season of waiting, and this is the book that she wrote. And it doesn't have to be a season of waiting for a spouse or anything like that. Anything can be a season of waiting. And I've actually felt like, oh, well, I'm not really waiting for anything. However, these devotionals have been speaking to me on a different sense of what my thought or expectation of a waiting season is. So I thought, gosh, this is really applying to some of the things that go through my mind, but on a different level. So my season of wait is actually something that I didn't expect to experience as a season of wait. But let me share, this is, I'm on day 10. I started it the very day she sent it to me. And it's funny because just the day before, her and I were talking about this, and I'm like, oh, this would be such a great book for you to, devotion for you to get, it's going to be released. And I was considering getting it, but because I'm in, my April no spend on any kind of studies or Bibles or anything like that, I'm just like, well, I didn't think about it. Y'all, the next day it was in my mailbox. You see how God works? So apparently he was speaking to Maria to speak to me, to send it to me. So anyway, the day 10 is tweak the dials. And the scripture that she uses is, no discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it. And that's Hebrews 12:11. And she's talking about, I won't read the actual, just because I think I get in trouble if I read straight out of a book like I'm telling y'all a story or something. So I'm just going to paraphrase it. But what she's talking about in this particular day, she woke up freezing cold at night, and she tried to kind of overlook it, get back to sleep, and it was just too cold. So all she did was walk downstairs, turn the thermostat up 2 degrees, got back up in bed, settled down, and just that slight temperature change, that little tweak of the dial, so to speak, is what she's got on here, made a huge difference. It made her more comfortable. She was able to go back to sleep. And, so her question that she gives in her devotion is, what small changes have you made that have resulted in a big difference? And why I say this makes a difference what really kind of resonated with me when I was just sitting out there reading is when my husband and I do construction. If you're new here, welcome again. So my husband can see the finished product before we even start. I have to kind of see it as we go and try. I mean, I can know what in my mind I want it to look like, but the steps to get there look completely different. I watch HGTV. I know how fast they get stuff done. So why is it taking us so long to get this done? 30 minutes, the house is renovated. So what are we doing wrong? That's sarcasm. So anyway, he can foresee a shift. If something isn't completely square, he can see it before we get to the end result, where it will completely throw the building off. It will throw the way the metal lines up, the way the floor, the concrete sits. It will throw everything up. So if your foundation is off just a little bit, it grows as you go further down the line. And so what I gained from this is those small tweaks that we make in our lives can actually be big differences. She also references like the pilots. When they get in to fly their planes, they have their dials set specifically. If someone's elbow pops the dial or whatever, and it goes off just a half a degree over many thousands of miles can have you land in some complete different state. So what I brought that to in my thoughts, I was thinking of work because we're building this loft system in a building that he built about 8 years ago. There's a new owner now, and he's wanting to build this 2nd-story loft in a super tall, like a, 16-foot tall barn. So we're building a loft. Well, as we got what we just discovered yesterday, it's out about an inch. That inch from way down here, because because the concrete wasn't right, the wall was a little off, which meant that when you come back in to do something else, if you follow that, you're going to be off. So we're off like an inch at the bottom, which sets the plywood off, y'all. You can't make plywood grow. You know what I mean? And so you get to this point where everything looks lined up when you're looking at the big picture. But if you're not there, if you haven't started it from the start to finish in a new sense, that little shift can cause it to grow in the opposite direction. So where that little inch was off caused almost a half a day of rearranging plywood and recutting and because it has to be perfect. I'm telling you, it has to be square and everything. And in order to do that, you have to backtrack. So where she was saying that small difference made the biggest difference, I'm totally understanding that now when I say stuff to him like, well, we can just, if you just kind of, meet it halfway, bring it out this way a little bit and bring it this way, it'll straighten it up. He's like, you can't do that. You have to go all the way back where it starts to go and correct it there. And y'all, it made so much sense to me in that visual, in that analogy, when I was thinking about that, because we just did it yesterday, and I could see what he was talking about. And then when I read this, it flashed back in my mind. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can totally know what she's talking about, how that little bit can make a big difference. Also with the pilots. And another thing I have noticed as you know, if you follow me, I finished that 75 hard challenge and was drinking all the water and just doing all the and feeling so, I was so on track. And just because I've shifted a little bit because the challenge is over, that little shift, I haven't even had a drink of water today, y'all. It's 2:58 in the afternoon. I would be almost done with my gallon by now. All last week and even yesterday, I'm up to still drinking almost a whole gallon. I drink like I don't know, 3/4 of a gallon by the time the day's over. Today, I haven't even filled my water jug. That one little shift, and I can feel it today. My tongue is dry, my lips are chapped. I just had to put chapstick on before getting on here because that little degree of shift can make that big of a difference over just that many of hours. So let's see, I finished it probably about 3:30 yesterday after I got Kyla from school, and didn't have anything to drink all last night. I had my coffee this morning, and I haven't had anything to drink since. What? But yeah, see how that little tweak? So it can go either way. You can tweak in a good way where I had added the water, I had added the little extra things and I was doing, and while I was on track, felt amazing. That little relaxation, that little shift or the lean to the left, where I'm like, you know what? I'm not in the challenge. I can drink, go back to what I normally drink. I can tell the big difference. So I don't know if that is something that you can relate to. If you have, I don't know, shift it a little bit. Maybe you've put your quiet time off and you thought, well, you know what, I'll make up my readings on the weekend. I'm just too busy during the week. I can't fit it in. Or if you've just decided, you know what, I'm just in a season where we've got games in the afternoon, we have gymnastics, I don't have time, I'm too tired to get up in the morning. This is just a season that I'm just going to have to take off from doing a Bible study or whatever. I'm here to tell you, be careful. Because just from reading the 2-degree shift can make a big difference for the good, but it can also make a difference taking you in the opposite direction. So just keep in mind how important it is to not only consider where you are now, but the consistency, the staying within your discipline, so to speak, keeping on track, and if there is a shift, to be recognizing it. Well, yeah, I have kind of started shifting this way. I need to shift back. God can do more with 5 minutes you give him in the morning than if you spent an hour with him. He knows the season you're in. He sees it all. He knows it before you even confess to him anything that is on your heart. He already knows. He wants the relationship. He wants you to bring it to him. He already knows. But just like in any marriage, anytime you want to have a conversation with your husband, don't assume he knows because you're quiet that you're hurt or you're sad or you're thinking about something. Go. Don't make them guess or make them wonder. Not that God's wondering or guessing because he knows, but I'm just saying the relationship value is what you want to stick close to. So if you can see or feel yourself shifting a little bit, that's the time to recognize it and nip it in the bud. That's the time to say, you know what? I can get up 15 minutes early. And if it's just getting up 15 minutes early so that you're washing your face and brushing your teeth and praying and talking to God in your head, that is better than trying to push it off to say, I'll get to it later, knowing later you have a game or gymnastics, or then you've got to worry about supper, and then you're too exhausted and you go to sleep and you go to talk to God and then you're asleep and you know what I mean? It's just like another day. I'll do it tomorrow. Before too long, that tomorrow becomes a week, a month, several months, and it's always best to try to be disciplined and stay disciplined, because that 2-degree shift it's what a power a 2-degree shift can make in your life. For the good, if you're correcting something, maybe you haven't gone too far, you can just redirect. Or if you are doing good and then you think, oh, I'm doing pretty good about this, I can slack off a little. No, because it won't take you long to veer off. So anyway, I thought I would share that. I don't know if it will resonate with anyone, but I just know that it really brought to my forethought what happened yesterday when we were working, how just by going down a 40-foot long, build, or a lot, I think it was 40, maybe it was 20, maybe it was 24 foot. But anyway, it was long enough to know that if you just keep going just like this, by the time you get to the end point, you're off. So it just really brought that visual. And the question that I'll leave you with, if you're wanting to share in the comments, is how can you make a 2-degree change in your life right now? Where do you feel the need to turn that thermostat 2 degrees, or correct that flight path that you might be on, that discipline that you may have been really strong in that may have veered off a little bit? Where can you make, or where do you feel there is a lack and you need to redirect your course? Just curious. Feel free to drop the comments below and we'll get a conversation going. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay, guys, bye.